Hey everyone, so I'm going to go ahead and get into the discussion for the week. Honestly, it was kind of crazy to think about, especially hearing Michelle and Tasha's story on the video, where Michelle was, or she is in the top 1% of North Carolina, financial wise, or income wise, which is almost $746,000 annually. And then you have Tasha, which is kind of at the other hand, at the bottom, 99% of income, which is around $42,162. So seeing the difference between those was really kind of sad. And, it kind of just gets me into the first question, which was, what are apparent public and self stigmas that could be associated with rural areas and rural residents as reflected in the video? So, some stigmas could be, you see someone like Tasha from the video and other people like her, and you might think like, oh, she, lacks motivation or is lazy, and doesn't want to work or go to college, etc., when that's just not the case. It showed in the video how she did try to go to college but had to drop out because she is a single mother. So if she is a single mother and living in a rural area, working a job that said in the video was paying under $11 an hour, she clearly won't be able to afford childcare for her kids, for her to go to college. So that doesn't make her lazy or unmotivated. It just makes her, not able to, go to college or work, a job that pays, more because of the area she's living in. When you are living in a rural area, there's a lack of entertainment, schools, recreation, and universities, which could reflect upon, why people in rural areas aren't able to do as much. Which also I thought was interesting from the video, was that in Wake County in North Carolina, 48% of people hold a bachelor's degree or higher, where 11% of people in Bertie County, which is a rural area, there's only 11% of people hold a bachelor's degree or higher. And that difference was also crazy to me. But it kind of just makes sense because in the rural areas, there's just not as much that goes into those areas compared to like an urban area. So seeing the difference from the video and the readings and stuff really was crazy and just shows how much of a need there is for rural areas, and how much growth, there is that needs to be done in that kind of an area. So another kind of stigma within the rural area is that this population is used to being so close knit, where most people can recognize everyone, you pretty much know who everyone is. So in regards to like a mental health side of things, I feel like people who are from a rural area who do maybe go to a mental health facility or clinic or something, most people from a rural area might have, fear that people are going to find out, or judge them differently, and then can have repercussions of gossip throughout the rural area, and that can then cause an increase of shame and guilt and stuff like that, which won't be good for the mental status of an individual. Going into question 2, what are the strengths that can be gleaned from rural area living and residents that can help behavioral health practitioners assist clients to challenge both public and self-stigma? So I think whenever I was just kind of reading and watching the video, the one strength that really stood out to me that I think people from rural areas have is perseverance. Just having that willingness to continue on the journey of life. Clearly not having, probably the finances that they would like to have, or being able to have the opportunities that they would want to have, or living in an area that, they're super content with. And so the willingness to continue, despite the challenges that they do face, the challenges of not making a lot of money, or, living in an area where there is a lack of transportation, entertainment, recreation, schools, that kind of thing. And so when that kind of happens, I feel like behavioral health specialists can then see that, the perseverance in these individuals, and hopefully it would inspire them to want to continue fighting for the rural area communities, and kind of reach out and advocate for these people, who live in these areas, so that more and more people can get the help that they need.